What is up and what's happening, Auburn fans? I wanted to do a little episode tonight. Hugh Freeze had some things today, had some things to say today at his press conference, and tomorrow we will still go live. But I wanted to hop on here tonight and talk about the quarterback situation because I think it took Auburn Twitter and Auburn social media by storm when Hugh Freeze was asked what is the quarterback situation going into the Kentucky game Saturday night in Jordan-Hare Stadium. And I think the Auburn faithful, when they heard his answer, they were a little shell shocked. And I'll be honest, I was too, because I feel like, however you want to go about it, I feel like Ashton Daniels played well enough in the second half for you to ride that spark and give him the momentum going into the Kentucky game. Now, I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm messing with my phone here. I'm not saying that, you know, you don't bring Ashton or you don't bring Jackson into the game Saturday night. But for you to come out and say that there is an open QB competition, I think once again, Hugh Freeze has found himself rubbing the fan base the wrong way. Because after the momentum in that second half Saturday, coming back and winning that football game, whether it was the defense who got the pick six and scored the only touchdown, whether you want to say, hey, it was Ashton Daniels scoring on every drive in the second half, every opportunity that he had, Auburn got points. I think that's a positive. Were they touchdowns? No. But were they points? Yes. Did you come from behind and have a shot in the arm of momentum and found a way to win a football game? That's the biggest thing for me, y'all. That is the biggest thing for me, is finding a way to win a football game. I've stressed that for 3 years since Hugh Freeze has been here. Late in games, you have to find a way. And Ashton Daniels created that spark. So when you get up to the podium today, since we all want to criticize what Hugh says, I understand the side of saying, hey, there's an open QB competition. The people out there, they want to say, well, that makes Kentucky prepare for two quarterbacks. I get that. I get that. And then I also get the NIL side of it, of, like I always say, Jackson's going to get every possible opportunity to play. I get that. But where I'm looking at this is Hugh had the perfect opportunity to stand up and say, hey, look, Ashton Daniels is our guy Saturday. We're going to roll with him. We feel like he played well enough Saturday in the second half. He made some pretty good throws. He escaped the pocket a little bit. He's going to be our guy. And if he struggles, then we might have to turn around and think of Jackson. And then Mike G pressed him and said, oh, what about Deuce? What about Deuce? Where's Deuce in this equation? Because you're just saying both of these guys. You're not talking about a third guy. And he went on to say, well, I don't really want to throw Deuce out there in this situation, which I get. I understand. True freshman, tough spot to be in. I think Deuce would eventually work the kinks out and get it going. You kind of saw it in Ball State, man. Like, he struggled, but he made some plays. You could see the athleticism. Obviously, Ball State isn't Kentucky, but it's just, to me, it's a little weird how Hugh had the opportunity to say, hey, we're going to ride with these guys. We're going to ride with Ashton Daniels. He's going to be our starting quarterback Saturday night. Instead, you took the route of, well, there's an open QB competition. Now, I've seen people say, well, it just makes them practice harder. Look, I can tell you this. Jackson was pulled Saturday, and he watched Ashton go into the game and Auburn come back and win, and he saw the excitement around him. He saw the guys reacting to Ashton, and they're dapping everybody up. And I'm not saying Jackson's a bad teammate. I'm just saying he read the room Saturday. Okay? He read the room. He saw the players saying, "Hey, let's go, baby. We won a game." Ashton come in. We were down 21-10 at half. We kept fighting. We kept scratching. Kept doing whatever we had to do to win a football game. Jackson read the room. Now, I think with this game at home, if you go to Jackson Arnold as your starting quarterback Saturday, I do not know how this fan base is going to react. I really don't. I think you could possibly hear boo birds if Jackson was to trot out and be your starting quarterback Saturday night. That's just how I feel. At this point, I don't think there's a road to go back to Jackson barring injury. And in my opinion, this is different than the Hank Brown, Peyton Thorne situation last year, okay? Hank Brown was still wet behind the ears. He hadn't played college football, really. He hadn't been in big-time games. Ashton Daniels has played in big-time games. Ashton Daniels has competed in P4 football. Ashton Daniels was the starting quarterback at Stanford. He's been on the road in hostile environments. He's played in big-time games. So he's ready to go. He's ready to step in and be a starting quarterback. This is a completely different situation than throwing Hank Brown in against the Arkansas Razorbacks and watching it all fall apart. I think this is a different situation where Ashton could go out there, throw a pick, and bounce back from it, where you saw Hank Brown continue to do it. And he started to press and press and press more and more and more and more as that first half went on last year. And you slowly started to see Peyton Thorne get a little life. And they were like, okay, we're going back to Peyton Thorne in the second half. I think this is a completely different situation because you have a guy that's experienced and he's ready to go into the football game and lead a football team. It's different. So that is where I'm at with this turning to Jackson Arnold. Could he start? We're having an open quarterback competition. I just don't think there's a need to even go that route. I don't care about, they have to practice hard and leading up to the game, and I don't care about that. Jackson saw the writing on the wall. He read the room. He saw how the team responded to Ashton. I wanted Hugh Freeze to step up to the mic and say, hey, Ashton Daniels is our starting quarterback Saturday night. He created a spark, and we're going to ride with him in front of our home crowd, and we're going to try to get to 2 SEC wins. But Jackson will be ready to play. That's all you had to say. Because all I've heard is Hugh is open and honest. Well, I want you to be open and honest. Ashton Daniels is your guy Saturday night. And I also saw people say, well, he's just saying that, like he doesn't really want to come out, and maybe it sparks something like a controversy on the team or whatever. I don't think it would do that. I think these kids are ready for Ashton Daniels to take over. A big play for me in Saturday's game was the shot that Ashton took to Eric Singleton Jr. And he just gave Eric Singleton Jr. a shot. He gave Singleton Jr. a shot, a chance to go up and make a play at its highest point, and he made it. Jackson doesn't make that throw. He doesn't try to make that throw. He probably stands there and takes a sack. The out route to Perry, they threw that with Jackson. They ran it with Jackson. He was late on it. He threw it in the dirt. He's just late. They ran it in the second half. I don't know if you were watching, paying attention, but they ran it in the second half, and Ashton threw a dart out to Perry. Picked up 10 yards. and he was early and on time. He let the ball go before Perry got out of his break, and when Perry turned around, it was on him, and Perry fought for the first down. That was the difference. I've been hearing a lot of people say, well, they're really similar in what they do. Yeah, they are similar, but it looks a lot more crisp back there with Ashton Daniels, or at least it did Saturday. It might look completely different this Saturday, but this past Saturday, it looked a lot more crisp, a lot more fluid. He wasn't a statue back there, in my opinion. He was feeling himself in the pocket. I just think it looked a lot more crisp with Ashton in there than it did with Jackson. And that is why I wanted to hear Hugh step up and say, he's my guy. He's my guy. Let's get over here to these comments. Thank y'all for getting in here, man. Whew, I did not get home. I did not get home until about 7:15 tonight. I was working late, sat down, watched Monday Night Football, and eating some tacos and spent a little time with the family. So that's why we're on here late night. I said, man, I got to do a little episode about this quarterback situation. We got to talk about it. So, Thomas, man, what is up? Let's ride War Damn Eagle, y'all. Let's go, baby. Back to 500. I am a little bit excited about that. Brett, what's up, my guy? He says, War Damn fam. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Brad says, War Damn Eagle, I finally made it back in here for once. Hey, let's go. Glad to have you, brother. Glad to have you. Brett says, Hugh doesn't want Kentucky knowing who plays Saturday. Let me tell y'all something. Kentucky, they are solid on defense. I'll give them that. But they are a bad, bad football team. They have no offense. I don't know how they're going to score on Auburn unless Auburn finds a way to mess up in special teams, or Ashton or Jackson, whoever goes out there and throws a bunch of picks and gives them a bunch of short fields. I just don't see them driving the football consistently on this Auburn defense, who is in my opinion, top 5. Some might say top 10, 20, 30, whatever. But I think they're top 10 in the country, top 5 in my opinion. But I just don't see them moving the football. And so I don't think it's a big deal. I think you could have come out and just said, he's our guy. Auburn Dad says, War Damn Eagle, good evening. How are we doing, brother? How are we doing? That's where I'm at, Brett. Yeah. I wanted to see some confidence in one guy. You know, and I guess it kind of takes me back to this, is like, you had Jackson sitting in these post-game pressers with you. And then when it all went bad, it wasn't anymore. Like, he wasn't there anymore. And it's okay to admit that, like, it went south and it went bad. And, you know, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. And you've got a guy who showed a little life. I think it's okay to admit that. War Damn Eagle, Steven, how are we doing tonight? Defense got us points, and even when they gave the offense a chance, we had to settle for field goals. I'm good with the win, but damn the field goals. I want TDs. I'm with you, Thomas. And that is one thing I said is, I think Ashton, if you give him the start Saturday night, you're able to see a little bit more. Hard for a guy to come in who hasn't played all year. You get thrown in the first half with 40 seconds left, and it's, hey, bring us back, brother. We're down 11 going into half. You got 30 minutes, game on the line, bring us back. I think that's a tough situation for him to get put in. And I just think it's a tough spot. And Ashton, in my opinion, was it great? No, I don't think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. Was it winning play? Yeah, I think he played pretty damn well. I do. And it gave us the energy, and how the players responded is the biggest thing to me. And I'm okay with that. What's up, Rodney? How we doing tonight, man? Bruton, Alabama in the house. Love to see it. Can Xavier play QB? What a dog, man. What a dog. I've voiced my opinion, All-America team. I think he deserves it. I think he is the cream of the crop. I think he is the best linebacker in the Southeastern Conference. And if you disagree, that's okay. That's fine. I'm sure you got your pick, and if you're a fan of another team watching this, he also saw Ashton being a leader. I'm with you. I'm with you. Ashton probably needs all the reps with the ones in practice. I don't understand the splitting of time. That's my thing too, is let Ashton go in there and take every rep possible. We've seen what Jackson can do, and he's taken all the reps, and it's just an ongoing thing of Jackson can play 2 quarters, and then he can't. He can't put a full 4 quarters together. And we have seen that for multiple weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. You could really go back to the second half of South Alabama game, and it's been the same story. And I always say, what is the definition of insanity? And every one of you know, when you do the same thing over and over and you expect a different result. Hold on. What are we saying here? So the team can't get behind the QB, just leaves the team in limbo. That's kind of where I think we know who this team is behind right now at this point of the season. I think that's where we're at. I think we know who these players responded to Saturday. I fully expect Ashton Daniels to play quarterback Saturday night, to be the starting quarterback on the field Saturday night. And I will be shocked if he isn't. Definitely get booed. I think so. Like, Mike, that is why I brought it up, is because I think if you were to trot Jackson out there, people would start looking around going, hey, man, what's going on here? What's going on here? Because you also have to factor in what is going around with Hugh Freeze right now. His job's on the line. It's all over college football. LSU fires their coach. Florida fires their coach. Penn State fires their coach. Well, now if Auburn fires their coach, is it the right time? Because we don't know what coaches are going to be available, and we don't want to get left with nobody. The seat is still hot for Hugh Freeze. So I don't think you can turn back to Jackson, because then your fan base is going to turn it up even more. And they're going to say, Hugh, what are you doing? We just won a game with 12, and now you're rolling back to 11. What are you doing, Hugh? Hope we don't divide the locker room. I kind of think I'm not saying it's divided now, but I mean, there's a possibility where some people might like Deuce, some people might like Ashton, some people might like Jackson. I don't think the defense, probably isn't divided. I don't know. The offense responded well. Jeremiah Cobb seemed fired up. I'll tell you one thing about him is when I saw him roll over to the sideline and he said, hey, give me the damn ball, and he slung his helmet. He said, I'm gashing these dudes, and you want to throw the RPO and it get returned for an 89-yard pick six. Give me the ball. I think the team knows who's QB already, to be honest. I'm with you there. They better. Hugh better know. What are you going to gain from these practice? It's practice, not the game. How do they play in the game? We talking about practice. 100%. Hey, AI said it best, and I'm not talking about the AI videos. I'm talking about Allen Iverson, baby. He said, hey, y'all want me to come to all these practices, but for what? We're sitting here talking about practice. Because when I get in the game, I'm going to give you a 30 nugget. I'm going to get my 10 assists. And I'm going to get up on this podium, and y'all are going to praise me. But then I go do something, and I don't come to practice. But I'm one of the best people in the league. It's about how you play in the game. I think we heard a lot about a practice legend, the DB deked John to throwing that ball. He did. You go back and watch it. He deked him, and he knew exactly what was coming. John knew where he was going. As soon as he saw space, DB jumped the route as soon as it was snapped, for sure. You can watch the hips. You can go back and watch his hips. He deked him 100%. Coach Klein wasn't giving the answer to the starting QB question. He just had to wing it. Talk to Cohen yet? Ah, man, it's interesting that you see these other programs. They're firing their coaches and they're paying these big buyouts and they're being serious about their football program. Y'all, I think Brian Kelly was like 39-14 at LSU, but all it took was for them to get blown out by Alabama last year, 42-6. They got mollywopped by A&M. And they lost a couple of games against top 10 opponents earlier this year. Ole Miss, they lost to Ole Miss. Like, that's all it takes. And bam, it's over with at a place like that. And I think that's where Auburn fans were a little annoyed is like, you keep losing these games and you lose to Missouri. And these people are like, hey, man, we're not as serious as Florida. And then it's Penn State. They go out to lose to UCLA and then come back home and lose to Northwestern. They're like, dude, we don't care that you were a play away from the national championship last year. You're failing this year, and that's not acceptable. So get out. We'll pay you the $50 million. You can see his confidence level on those few drives he had. I agree. 100%. I felt like he looked confident. I felt like he looked crisp. I felt like he had a little swagger about him. He come in loose, calm, collected, smiling. He wasn't nervous. Was like, hey, we're down 11. Let's go get some points on the board. Let us right down the field to kick a field goal and cut it to a one-score game. That's all I can ask for a backup quarterback who hasn't played all year, who showed up late to Auburn and got thrown into the game with 40 seconds left in the first half and was told, hey, bring us back. That's all I can ask. Game plan might be a little different with the knowledge of Ashton starting. Rather than running what was planned for Ja, might be. I still think the game plan from here on out against everybody we play should be to get Jeremiah Cobb the football. And I've voiced my opinion highly on that. It's got to be over 19, 20 carries. I mean, you have to give him the workload like you did this past Saturday, 25 to 28, maybe 30 touches a game, and just filter in Omar Mabson in there when Jeremiah needs a breather. But put the ball on the ground in the run game. That is, Auburn has to realize that is their recipe to win. Who would have thought that James Franklin and Brian Kelly would get fired before Freeze? I posted it on Twitter, Brad. I said Hugh Freeze is sitting back here relaxing, watching these dudes get fired before him. The players are getting paid now. This is a business, and you can't worry about hurting someone's feelings. I know this sounds bad, but this is life. For sure, Rodney. They are getting paid, and they're getting paid handsomely, right? They're making more money a year than a lot of people walking around on a 9-to-5. They're making more money than myself a year, way more. And I cut steel every day at a fab shop, so I can tell you it's rough out there, and they're playing college football making 1.2, 1.5 million. I've heard some people say that some players are starting to go to the portal asking for 2-3 million, and the season's not even over yet. It's insane, you know. And I think the biggest thing is what plays into that is it's kind of like the NFL. These dudes sign these big contracts. They're also gonna get every chance to play because these businesses, they want to see return of investment, right? You throw a bunch of money into something, you're going to try your damnedest to see it pay off. Like, you want to see that money come back to you. And so you try to make it work. Look at Daniel Jones for the New York Giants. Excuse me. They paid him all this money in New York, and they just it was like fitting a square peg in a round hole. And they just kept trying and trying and trying, and then finally they were like, "Dude, look, you suck. All right, get out of here. Like, we got to cut you." And now look at him. He's in Indianapolis and he's killing it. Probably in MVP talks with his running back. I am really enjoying every minute of this. The War Eagle and War Chant is on fire at the same time. Now LSU is turned into a dumpster fire. Florida State, Auburn, LSU, Roll Tide. Yeah. I mean, you can't really say Florida State because they waxed you, Christopher. They waxed you, brother. They blew you out. So it might be a dumpster fire, but it's hard to talk trash about a team that dominated you. I guess. I don't know. I'm different. War damn eagle, war Daniels eagle. Let's get it moving. Freeze be damned. Yeah, I think a lot of people are still against Freeze. I don't think last Saturday took any heat off the out of the kitchen. I think they are still on his tail. I think they still want him out. Now, if you go beat Kentucky and then you walk into Vanderbilt, take over their trap, beat Vandy, and then you beat Mercer and you go into the Iron Bowl sitting at 7-4, I'm interested to see how the fan base would respond to that. Would there be some excitement? Would you still want him gone? How would this fan base respond to 7-4? Let's see how the Iron Bowl plays out. Could Auburn beat Alabama? I think Auburn can beat Alabama. I do. If they can fix this offense, if Ashton Daniels can look a little bit better than Jackson Arnold and push the ball down the field a little bit, and the way Auburn runs the football, I think there's a shot. Fire Jackson Arnold. Yeah, well, I think he got fired. And Thomas, appreciate the super chat, man. The $5 super. We appreciate it over here at Auburn at the Voice of College Football. Why aren't y'all watching the World Series? Because I'll be honest, man, I care more about Auburn sports than I do professional sports. Don't get me wrong, I love baseball. The Dodgers and the Blue Jays. I'm a Yankees fan too, so we want Jackson. We want Jackson. We want Jackson. Awesome bag too. I only watch the Braves. I don't care about either one of the teams in the World Series. Yeah, like I'll watch it if nothing else is on. But like I sat down and ate tonight and watched Monday Night Football, and then like I was like, hey, let's go do a pod. You know, the family went to bed. Let's go get on the pod and talk Auburn football. They're in extra innings right now. I hear Otani's having a night. I did hear that. Please, did ding to green 2 times. What are you trying to say right here, Auburn Dad? Getting late. I got to go to work tomorrow. Me too, brother. Me too. Oh, Pleasant. The INT. Okay. I got it. Yes, Pleasant was a pleasant surprise. Now I got what you're saying now. Darrell Robertson is cleared to play. Need him back, man. We saw that little burst, and then that was kind of it. And then it kind of went to, the injury, and you were like, dude, take care of yourself. Like, he had to get rushed to the hospital. I would love to see him back because he got out the gate that night, and I think that could be a positive for Mabson and Jeremiah Cobb. But I'll tell you about Pleasant. Pleasant is electric. And I think if he can get a little bit better in man, and sometimes he's a little bit handsy, and it gets him in trouble. But I think he's a pretty dang good player, man. I love watching him. Man, if he ain't going by now, he ain't leaving. Got to head out, Warrior, y'all. All right, appreciate it, Thomas. Yeah, y'all. Look, I'm not going to keep y'all any longer. We got on here. We talked about it. QB position. That's kind of where I stand on it. Is I think Q had an opportunity to just come out and say, "Hey, Ashton Daniels is your guy," and he didn't do it. And that's what that got me going a little bit. So I wanted to come on here and talk about it with each and every one of you. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. Tomorrow night we'll go live again. We'll talk about the Kentucky Wildcats and the rest of Hugh's presser and him talking about this football team. So appreciate each and every one of you. Thank y'all for joining me. War Damn Eagle as always. See y'all tomorrow night.